Y'all know what it is. Jay Williams, Let's Live Life, and we're back. People doing drugs in prison. Smoking crack, shooting dope, weed if you want to consider it a drug, popping pills, everything you can imagine. I done seen it all. Let's relive it. First off, before we start, thank you everybody that checked into the live last night. Thank you everybody that donates. And even if you don't donate, hey, thank you for watching and supporting the channel. I love all y'all. You guys are amazing, man. We're blowing up so fast. We're growing so fast. And that's because real recognizes real. Talked to my homeboy Joey again this morning. I think I'm going to have Joey on. Joey is the dude I told you that fought the head crip one-on-one. I'm in touch with him. Joey's got some crazy stories. He also was the dude Casper I was telling y'all about. Joey was good friends with Casper as well. And he was telling me some sad news on Casper. So I'm going to have Joey on soon. He's put me in touch with a couple of my other homeboys that I was in prison with so I can bring some of them on. People always ask me, why you don't never have none of your homeboys on that you was in prison with? A, most of them are either dead, locked back up, or strung out on drugs. B, I don't do Facebook. So unless you find my channel or somebody directs you towards me, I don't know how to get in touch with you. I stayed in prison after most of these dudes got out. You know, I was still there. But he found me. My homeboy Q actually found me in New York and sent the link over to Joey. Joey reached out to me on the email. We chopped it up, a couple times now. Just catching up on how things are doing. Joey's doing good. He let me know. One of our homeboys, Spike got sentenced at 17 years old to 93 years as a 17-year-old. Spike is a damn good dude, man. I can't find nothing ever bad to say about Spike. Spike made parole after 40 years. So I definitely want to try to get Spike on so y'all can hear Spike's story. Spike's story goes from everything from, what prison was like in the 70s and 80s to him trying to escape to what put him in prison and what 40 years in prison is like. So with that being said, let's jump into today's story. Drugs in the penitentiary. Now, most people had this huge misconception when you think of prison. People always ask, well, why don't everybody get down? Why don't everybody fight? Why is dude letting this dude do this to him? Remember this now. Not everybody in prison is a killer. Not everybody locked up is in there for violent charges. You got a lot of dudes that just had really bad drug problems on the streets. Their drug problems turned into legal problems. They caught a bunch of charges, and off to prison they went. The only thing they had ever fought in their life was addiction. Now you send them somewhere to a prison, to a medium, a max, where these yards are flooded with drugs at all given moments. And guess what? They're going to get high. Where there's a will, there's a way. If they can finagle, switch and move in the streets and get high, they're going to do it in prison. So let's get into these stories, man. The first one I'm going to give y'all is a crazy story, man, on me working maintenance and actually being able to get inside the pill area of the prison where they distribute medication. And with the medications, they're real picky on what they'll give people. They will Motrin, ibuprofen, Tylenol your ass to death. You can go get your wisdom teeth pulled and they're going to give you some 500 milligram ibuprofens, right? But just like the world, you got guys in there that have cancer. You got guys in there that have these major medical issues that have to have certain things to deal with the level of pain that they're dealing with. Cancer being one of the biggest things. If you have cancer in prison, they're going to give you morphine. They're going to give you oxys. But they're not just going to give them to you. You're going to go to the pill window. They're going to put it in a little cup. You're going to put it in your mouth, swallow some water. And for a lot of those guys, they wouldn't swallow it. That was a great hustle. So my boss tells me, he says, hey, we're going to be redoing the tile floors over in medical. I didn't think much about it. When he said medical, I thought like the area where the nurses were, where you get your temperature checked, where the scale is, where you go to be seen if you got a problem. I wasn't thinking we're going to be in the actual pill room where all the pills are. We get over there and we're waiting around for a guard to come unlock this door. And they let us in, and I'm looking at the floor, and he's like, nah, we're going to be working in the pill window, like inside the pill room. I'm a convict, so immediately the ding, 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 ding starts going off in my head. There's oxys in there. There's morphine in there. It is a gold mine in there if I can get in there and get to where this dude can't see what I'm doing. First day, nothing happens. But as I'm working, I'm looking around, and the narcotics, anything that's narcotic, comes on a sheet that's orange. Your pills don't come in a bottle. They come on like a paper sheet. It's got a plastic coating, and you can pop them out one at a time for each day. Well, if it's narcotic, it's on an orange piece of paper. If it's like aspirin or something, or penicillin or something, it'll be on a white, thick piece of cardboard paper with this plastic coating on the front. I'm looking around the room as I'm working and trying not to be noticed, and I start seeing the orange sheets. I know that's narcotic. I know that right there is going to get me paid. A lot of dudes want that. I got to get my hands on that. And doing the tile, we got to take up the old tile. The old tile is laid directly on concrete, and it's not coming up very easy. We're in there hammering, chiseling. This tile has been down probably 20 years. It is stuck to the floor. Next day, my boss brings me the small jackhammer that's got what's called a spade bit on the front of it. It's kind of shaped, like that. And that flat part, you run against the tile to break the tile up. I'm in there, gang, 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 gang. My boss is standing in the doorway watching me with the tools and stuff, and it's kicking up so much dust. Dust to the point that I got a little mask on my face, and he's standing behind me with a mask on, and he starts coughing and stuff. He walks off, and when he walks off, I hear the main door shut. Now, I know when he comes back, because for him to come back, they have to buzz that door. When they buzz that door, it makes a loud clank noise from where the little thing that holds the door in place slides in and out of it. As soon as he walks out, I bust into action. I hop up, I grab these sheets of pills, and I look, oxy. I start popping all the pills out the sheet. 30 pills, drop them in my shirt pocket, fold the chart up, throw it in the trash. I go to the next one, K2 Dilatas, K4 Dilatas, popping them out, filling my shirt pocket up to where my pocket's starting to bulge now. I get over to the morphines, morphine 80s, popping them, taking them out the package. I done went through like 6 sheets now. You got to think there's a minimum of 30 pills on each sheet. Some of these dudes get these pills 3 times a day. Some of these sheets I have 90. I have this penitentiary blue shirt on. My entire pocket is now packed full of narcotics. I done stole thousands of dollars in pills of narcotics, and they're in my shirt pocket. I'm looking around for something to throw this in to get this shit out of my shirt pocket. My shirt pocket looks like I got 100 napkins balled up in it right now. Like it's just bulged. No sooner than I look around to grab something, I hear the door plunger hit. Clink, clink. Means my boss or a guard is coming back in. I pick the jackhammer up, like I'm moving it out the way, get the little dustpan, start sweeping up crumbs of this tile that's breaking up into little small pieces, and I dump it in the trash. Nobody notices nothing. I go back to clank, 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 clank. Jackhammering up this tile, right? Tell me why I need something. I've got something, one of the tools, I think it was the brush that I was using. It's like a little long brush you use to sweep up with. Sit on top of the maintenance cart. My boss is standing there, and I ask him to hand me the brush, and when he hands it to me, it drops. I lean over to pick the brush up, and when I do, these pills all pour out my pocket. Right there on the floor, right in front of my boss. Easily 100 pills. Not all of them, but at least 100 pills just poured out of my pocket right onto this concrete floor that I'm jackhammering up. His eyes get all big. He looks at me. I look at him. He looks at me. I look at him. He looks at the pills. Looks at me. I look at the pills. He looks at me. And immediately I take that little brush and I start scooping them up. Scooping them up. Scooping them up. I pick them up. I put them in my pants pocket this time. I tell him, look, man, it's just aspirin. You know what I mean? We can only order certain packs of aspirin on the commissary. They got millions of aspirin. I ain't really doing it like that. They're assholes about giving you aspirin. It's just aspirin. Like, don't trip. And he believed me. He looked at me like, all right, man, God, I was hoping you wasn't in here trying to do nothing crazy. I said, nah, man, it's just aspirin. I hit the yard, got back that evening, and It was so much of it, I had to break it off through different homeboys. And they were just blown by the fact that what I had in my hand. I had more narcotics in my hand, pill-wise, than most people would have on the streets. This is the type of stuff that's hard to obtain on the streets. And here I am in prison with thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars worth of, you know, these oxys, these morphines, these Dilaudid, all these different pain pills. Everything goes off without a hitch. We pumping them, selling them. Of course, I get shook down several times. Dudes know it's me. I'm not trying to throw them nothing. So the guards are randomly shaking me down. The pill window lady has done reported the pills missing. But the problem is, we had just been there to that same door maybe 2-3 days prior to that because the door wasn't latching and securing properly. So anybody in medical, if they knew that door wasn't latched securely, could have slid up in there and took the pills. And my boss told them that. My boss said, y'all can't put this on my guys. That door didn't even lock. We had to come fix the plunger on the door because the door wouldn't lock. So you can't blame Jay. You can't blame this person. You know what I mean? Anybody that was at medical in those few days could have went in there and took it. So if you're going to lock him up, put him under investigation, throw him in the hole, you're going to have to do it to everybody that's been to medical over the last 3 days, which is probably 100+ people. I slid through the cracks. Y'all watching, you work Greensville, now you know. Too late to do anything about it now. So yeah, that was the great pill caper, man. I ate good. I lived good. Made a lot of money. I came home with a bunch of that money still on my books. It was definitely a good time to be a con. Do I promote the distribution of drugs and narcotics? Nah. That's just the facts on what happened. Next one I got for y'all is raining its ass off outside. It's on a homeboy of mine I had named Tommy. And Tommy was in there for construction fraud. Tommy was one of those dudes that would go to old women and mark the price up for putting a new roof on their house, new siding, new this, new that, get the check, and never come back. Tommy had a bad drug problem on the streets. And that's how he was feeding his addiction, was scamming these old people. It's a fucked up hustle. It's a fucked up thing to do. Karma eventually came back on Tommy. I'll tell you about that. But Tommy would get high on anything Tommy could get his hands on. If you had dope, Tommy's going to shoot it. If you had crack, Tommy's going to smoke it. If you got coke, Tommy's going to do it. He's the Mizzle. Anybody mess with Dipset, it's Mizzle. He was the Mizzle of the penitentiary. But Tommy was a big dude. You would think for somebody that got so high, he would be skinny. No, Tommy was probably 6 foot tall, 240 pounds, big dude. I remember I got some crack one time, and I was selling crack in there, and I brung it to Tommy. I knew Tommy was going to want some. He had already told me before I came in. I told him I had the pack coming. He was like, make sure you break me off. Make sure you break me off, man. Please look out for me. Don't forget me. I'll pay you now. I'm trying to lock myself in so it don't all get gone and I don't get none. I said, yeah, man, I got you. So Tommy tells me, see if you can get me a needle. I said, man, I don't be fucking with them needles like that. He was like, well, ask around if you can get me a needle. I said, all right, I can get your needle, but I'm not going to get it. I can get somebody else to get it for you. Fuck you need a needle for and crack. You can't put crack in a needle, you know what I mean? So the way dudes were getting needles, before anybody jumps in, oh, you telling on the game, this has been torn off 100 times. They know. Things have changed. If things ain't changed, they know. It's disgusting just to think about what I'm about to tell you. Now when you go to the doctor, if you're diabetic or whatever you are, and you get a shot, when they're done, they take that needle, and there's a red thing, like a hazard box on the wall, and they drop that needle down inside of it. Well, the nurses in them there were so lazy that this thing would get so full that when you would push the flap, there would literally be syringes hanging out of it. They had the cap on them. You weren't in no danger of poking yourself. You were in danger because you didn't know what the next person that used that, the last person that used that needle might have had. But dudes didn't care. So when nobody was looking, the dude standing there would reach up inside that little red box and he'd grab a handful of them, pull them down, put them in his pocket, take them back to the dorm, pod, run bleach through them a bunch of times, to try to, I guess, kill whatever's in it. And then they would sell. I also forgot to tell you, when I worked over in medical that time getting the pills, I stole a ball of syringes like this, and them shit sold brand new, $15 a piece. So dude goes over to medical, he steals a handful of used syringes. The ones I got were brand new. And this was way prior to this. I tell Tommy, I'm like, yo, old boy's got syringes, man, if that's what you're trying to do. But I'm still not understanding what you're going to take crack and do with a needle. The two things don't, crack and a needle. Crack goes in a pipe. You don't put crack in no needle. Pack comes through. I go up to Tommy's cell. All right, Tommy, what you trying to do? Tommy tells me what he wants. We negotiate. I'll break him off. I'm thinking he's got the needle for something else and he's going to smoke crack. Tommy comes down to my cell and says, Jay, you got any pickles? And they sell this pickle on a pouch. You can see them at 7-Eleven. It's called a spicy pickle. I said, yeah, I got a couple. He's like, let me get 2 and I'll give you 3 back. I said, all right. So I throw him 2 pickles, no big deal. Store boxing at its finest. Tommy goes up to his cell, shuts the door, puts the pillow in the door so nobody can see in. About 10 minutes later, he comes out and he is bug-eyed. Looking around, all skits out of his mind. I'm thinking he done went up there and smoked crack, because that's what it looks like, right? So as he's standing there, he's going, I said, the fuck are you doing, man? He's like, I can taste it. I said, taste what? He was like, I can taste the spicy pickle. I said, the fuck you mean you can taste the spicy? What are you talking about, bro? He was like, looking around at everybody. He was like, man, I took that crack I got from you. I put it in the bottom of the can, and they flipped the can over where the bottom's kind of indented. He's like, I added some of that pickle juice. Pickle juice is like vinegar. He's like, and I broke that crack down and got it back to its liquid form. And I shot it. I said, hold the fuck up. You're telling me you just took crack, put pickle juice on it, which is basically vinegar, broke it down, and then shot pickled crack. He was like, it's just some fire. I'm standing here completely blown at the extent, the limits, the lengths guys are going to get high. You're telling me you just took pickle juice, spicy pickle juice, put it on crack, made it liquid, crushed it all up, broke it down, dissolved it, and just shot pickle juice into your vein. Got any more? I said, oh man, I gotta get the fuck out of here. This can't be my life. I had never been around nobody shooting dope in the streets. I knew dudes that shot dope. I've been through neighborhoods where people shot dope. Where I lived at in Philly, I used to have to, where we lived at was through an alleyway. I had to pick the syringes up and break them on the wall and throw them on top of the building sometimes, because the little kids would be riding the big wheels through the alleyway. So I'd seen this type of stuff before, but I'd never legitly dealt with it up close and personal. With my background and my family, I had family members that smoked crack, did coke, pills, things like that. But for the most part, they weren't, dope fiends. Sure enough, Tommy, shooting crack with pickle juice. This would go on every single time that I would get the pack, up until when I got tore off and got sent to the hole. Got caught in the visiting room. That's another whole story. Tommy would go home, and his cellmate called Tommy that night. And Tommy got out that morning at 8:30. And this goes to show you that penitentiary can save you, but it can only save you for a limited amount of time if that's, you're not going to take it serious. Tommy actually went home and overdosed the same night. He was found dead the same night that he got out of prison. I can't remember if he was in the bathroom or where he was at, but I know his cellie came back and said, man, and he wasn't the first one I'd heard this about. He's like, man, Tommy overdosed tonight and died, man. I called and talked to some of his family members. They were dealing with the police. But yeah, Tommy's dead. Crazy shit. I got a couple more for y'all before we jump out of here. So I'm walking the yard one time, and I'm walking with my homeboy Dan Tron. Dan Tron is from where I live at here in Richmond. Shout out to you, Big Dan Tron, if you're watching. Dan Tron is a big mixed dude. Knockout artist. Anybody here watching that knows Dan Tron from Mount Hopewell used to run with Mike Vest, was his best friend. Rest in peace, Mike Vest. Dan Tron was a straight animal on the streets. Dan Tron had that one-hitter quitter. He had that size. If he caught you, he was going to put your ass to sleep. He was known for knocking dudes out cold. Me and Dan Tron walking the yard one day, smoking a cigarette, just chilling, walking. And we walk by, there's a blacktop basketball court out in the yard. Full court basketball. Dudes just running back and forth playing basketball. They got these little bleachers there with dudes sitting on it. Dudes talking, dudes rapping, dudes smoking, some dudes smoking weed. Dudes are just chilling on the bleachers while these dudes run this full court basketball game, right? Me and Dan trying to walk in laps. And when we're walking, I look down and I see this piece of paper and it's about this big and it's folded. And there's a lump in it. And I know when I see it, just peeping it, that this is folded too perfectly and it looks like there's definitely something in it. I need to peep what that is. But at the same time, it's going through my head. Did somebody else throw that down there? There's a lot of people on the yard right now, hundreds of people. Did somebody throw that down there and they're waiting to see who's going to pick it up? Did somebody put it there intentionally, wanting somebody to pick it up so they can come back behind them and say, hey, homeboy, you picked my pack up. You owe me $500. So I noticed it. Dan Tron didn't notice it. We keep walking, and it's on my mind now. I told him, I said, come on, let's go back this way. So we go back over there, and we're standing there. And we're right beside the, maybe 2-3 feet from the blacktop, watching everybody run ball. And I'm standing beside this piece of paper. And as I'm doing it, I'm kind of looking around, trying to see if I make eye contact with anybody. You know what I mean? Just scanning the yard, seeing if anybody's looking in my general direction. Kind of cut my head behind me, check the bleachers out. I feel like ain't nobody looking at me. Couldn't nobody have put it here. Somebody has dropped this shit while they were walking. I scoop down like I'm messing with my shoe, pick the piece of paper up, cuff it in my hand, and I stand there for about another 2-3 minutes. My homeboy's like, what was that? I'm like, hold on, man, just chill. I said, all right, let's walk. So we start walking. We get all the way to the other end of the rec yard. I fold it open. This paper's full of weed. Probably every bit of about 10 grams folded up inside this folded paper somebody had dropped. Dan Tron's like, oh shit, you gotta break me off, you gotta break me off. I said, shh, the fuck up, I got you. Come on, I got you. We need to find a black or something so we can roll up. So we're walking, he's like, man, oh my, Joe, we just struck. I said, shut the fuck up, man, I got you. We get inside the building. I break Dan Tron off some. We roll up and we smoke. Well, my homeboy Face is in there at the time. And me and Face go down. We ain't smoking in my cell. We ain't gonna make my cell hot. This shit is loud. This shit stinks. We go to my other homeboy's cell. And he's not really my homeboy. He's more or less a flunky. Somebody that we can use his cell. And if the police run up in there, he gets jammed up. Who gives a shit? We don't really mess with dude like that anyway, right? So we wait till after the guard does his rounds and we go up in dude's cell. And we done rolled up. We just took the black and dumped all the insides out the black and mild. And I done stuffed the black with an ink pen. It's a good 2 grams inside this black. We look at the door. All right, boom, the guard left. They're not going to be back in for at least another hour. We're good to go. Only reason they're going to come in if something happens. So we got an hour to smoke, air the room out, and we're good to go. I light the black up. Hit it. Getting high. Pass it to my homeboy. He's hitting it. Passes it to his homeboy. He's hitting it. Now we pass it to the little flunky dude that we use in his cell, right? Dude's hitting the blunt. Standing there. I look over and I'm like, yo, and we got the light turned off in the cell, so if anybody walks by, they can't see really what's going on. We got it really dim in there. I look at dude, I'm like, what's up, man? You gonna pass the blunt or you just gonna smoke all day? And he's standing there with this stupid look on his face, like fuck. I'm like, what's up, man? And he looks down. I look down. We're standing right by the sink. This dummy went to go flick the ashes off the blunt and dropped the whole blunt in the toilet. This toilet's got piss in it. He ain't the cleanest dude. And either way, I'm not smoking that shit after it fell inside this pissy ass toilet bowl, right? My homeboy face gets all pissed off, snatches dude up, slams him against the wall, and I'm like, yo, chill, man, chill. Ain't no point in beating him up, you know what I mean? We got more weed. It's fucked up, but ain't no point in beating him up, you know what I mean? We was using him as a crash test dummy anyway. If the guards would have came in here, we was all gonna skirt about his cell and leave his cell smoked out and let him deal with it, you know what I mean? Like, fuck it, man, we got more, we'll roll up. Just can't smoke with this dummy no more, right? He decides he's going to take the blunt that he dropped in this pissy toilet bowl water, wrap it in a napkin, and take it to the microwave and dry it out. He's been at the microwave maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes, microwaving this pissy blunt. And as he's doing it, the entire pod starts to reek like pissy weed. This thing is soaked into this napkin. It's saturated. But as it's drying, it's bringing the odor of the weed and the piss out of the blunt and into the open air for everybody to smell. Smells like somebody is in there just smoking a big piss stick. Dude took the blunt, got a couple of his homeboys. I guess he wanted to floss for. Didn't tell them this thing had been dropped in piss. Went in the cell and smoked it. Him and like 3 other guys stood in there and smoked this piss-drenched, microwaved piss stick down to the roach, all up on the lips, and then threw it in the trash. Crazy, crazy things. I didn't even have to think about these stories. There's so many drug-related stories when it comes to prison, comes to jail, that I could talk about this shit all day. Because it just never ends. You're going to deal with junkies, dudes chasing, dudes getting high on some of the dumbest shit you ever heard. But it happens every single day. Do you have a loved one that constantly has you sending money to this person, this person, this person, and this person? If so, he just might be in there messing up. I hope not, but that's the MO. But y'all already know, man. I'm going to jump out. Y'all know these detention centers, prisons, institutions, facilities, they're all just crazier worlds inside of this already crazy world we live in. And y'all know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to keep y'all entertained. Are you not entertained? And as always, this is Jay Williams. Let's live life. And to all my real ones, and there are some real ones watching, because y'all still watching me. Y'all know how we do. Salute.